Have you ever wondered why there's aspects of your old Christian belief that seem to pop up in your head unannounced? Have you ever caught yourself starting to pray when you no longer believe in prayer? Why do these remnants of faith still linger in our minds, influencing our thoughts and decisions? And more importantly, how can we use these moments as opportunities to rewire our brain? Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of our cognitive process. We'll explore not only why these religious thoughts continue to persist, but also how we can harness them and reshape our thinking patterns. Hey everyone, I'm Lane, and thank you for joining me today here at Feeling Freaky. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. Growing up, I often wrestled with a persistent and deeply ingrained belief that any negative thoughts, especially those related to sexual curiosity or any seemingly impure idea that entered my mind, wasn't just random or natural. Instead, I was convinced that these thoughts were direct temptations from the devil, meticulously crafted to lead me astray and make me succumb to sin.
I'm a sinner, okay? I tended my garden. I tended it hard, Elijah.
Even after my beliefs had changed and I no longer believed in the Christian God, I still come across these echoes of my old belief in my mind from time to time. I'm going to call these cognitive echoes. These are the lingering effects of past beliefs, teachings, and experiences that continue to have an influence on our thinking and behavior even long after those beliefs have been consciously abandoned or altered. It's like how an echo persists and fades over time and distance.
Echo, echo, echo.
Similarly, ingrained thoughts or habits formed during our formative years continue to reverberate in our minds throughout our lives. Growing up, our brains are like sponges, absorbing information, forming foundational beliefs, and creating deep neural pathways. This is where cognitive echoes originate. For example, maybe you still experience unexplained guilt over actions that would have been deemed sinful in your Christian upbringing, or you find yourself instinctively praying in times of stress, despite no longer believing in prayer's efficacy.
Prayers, okay, prayers.
These aren't just habits. They're deeply rooted responses from our past. These types of echoes can influence your decision-making and even your worldview. You might even avoid certain activities or decisions, not because you logically disagree with them, but because of an ingrained belief system. This influence can extend from moral choices to lifestyle preferences and even political opinions. The Christian worldview imparted on us during childhood can be so powerful and often dictate how we interpret events, interactions, and even our self-perception. Being able to recognize these echoes when they arise is the first step to rewire your neural pathways and create new thought patterns. It allows you to reassess and decide whether these beliefs still align with your current values and understanding. But how do we differentiate between thoughts that are remnants of our old religious upbringing and those that are rational, independently formed ideas? This is an especially important question for those of us who have moved away from religious beliefs, but still find ourselves influenced by these deeply ingrained thought patterns. First, let's acknowledge a fundamental aspect. The dogma of Christianity was something we were taught, from an early age in most cases. In a sense, we were religiously programmed.
You're brainwashing me!
That's why I call myself Mr. Brainwash.
Our upbringing within this framework installed specific ideas and responses in each one of us, from feelings of guilt to deeply rooted moral judgments, and even a perceived sense of fate or destiny. When we're taught stuff like this at an early age, it can become so deeply embedded in our minds. And because of this deep-rooted nature, it's common to avoid these conditioned responses for our own intuition or personal beliefs.
I fear my thoughts are no longer my own.
Now let's take a look at rational and independent thought, which is all about logic, evidence, and reasoning independently. It's the outcome of critical thinking, where we analyze and reflect to reach conclusions and not just rely on what we've been taught or what we feel emotionally. It's about logic, evidence, personal reasoning, and forming opinions or making decisions based on analysis and available information, rather than on preconceived notions or emotional impulses.
Logical decision, logically arrived at.
Quite logically.
But how do we get this kind of thinking? It starts with the willingness to question, not just the world around us, but our own internal thought processes. It involves critically examining the evidence before us, being open to new information, and being willing to adjust our beliefs in light of new data. This kind of thinking encourages us to ask questions like, what evidence supports this idea? Are there alternative explanations? Am I being logically consistent?
Ask yourself that question.
Does this make sense?
But rational thought also means recognizing our own limitations of knowledge and understanding. It's about being comfortable with saying, I don't know, and understanding that not knowing is a valid and often a crucial starting point for further inquiry and learning. Independent thought is all about autonomy in our own thinking process. It's about making up your own mind, free from any influence of early indoctrination or societal pressures. This doesn't mean we need to ignore the opinions and knowledge of others, but rather consider them and critically integrate them into our own thinking in a way that is thoughtful and discerning. All of that to say that rational thought is an ongoing and dynamic process. It requires us to be engaged in self-reflection, open to new ideas, and committed to a journey of learning and growth. When you embrace this approach, you can start to differentiate between the remnants of your old religious upbringing and the thoughts that are truly your own. So how can we differentiate between these thoughts? Here's some practical things you can do to regain control over your thoughts. Techniques like mindfulness can really help in becoming more aware of your thought patterns and their origins.
Take a deep breath.
Inject thought into mind.
Sam Harris wrote a great book called Waking Up, A Guide to Spirituality Without Religion, and it explores this concept in depth. Harris discusses how mindfulness and meditation can be used as tools for self-reflection, irrespective of religious belief. By engaging in mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, which is crucial in identifying and understanding the origins of the thoughts in the first place, whether they're remnants of your old religious programming or a product of our own rational thinking.
Where did these come from?
From your past.
Harris's book is an excellent resource for anyone looking to explore mindfulness as a way to unravel and comprehend the complex nature of your own mind, especially in the context of moving beyond religious beliefs. Something else you can do is just start questioning the source. When these echoes pop up in your head, ask yourself, why do I think this? Is this thought based on any evidence, or is it an old belief?
You didn't think to question the source?
Questioning the source of your thoughts is a critical step in differentiating between what is a remnant of past religious programming and what is a product of your rational, independent thought process. Whenever you catch yourself reacting or thinking in a certain way, pause and ask yourself, why do I think this? Is this thought process based on tangible evidence, logical reasoning, and my current understanding of the world? Or is it a carryover from beliefs I was taught in the past? This practice of self-inquiry helps in identifying the true source of your thoughts. It allows you to acknowledge and understand the influence of your upbringing, while also giving you the power to reshape your thinking based on your current values and knowledge. By consistently applying this method of questioning, you'll start to get the ability to distinguish inherited beliefs and then your own reasoned conclusions, leading to much more clarity and autonomy in your thought processes.
All right, it's about clarity, man. All right, clarity.
The last thing I would recommend you do is seek external perspectives. Talking with others, especially those from different backgrounds, can provide new insights and help you see things differently. Other people's perspectives are incredibly valuable in broadening your understanding and challenging your ingrained thought patterns. When you engage in conversations with people from diverse backgrounds, cultures, or belief systems, it opens up a wealth of new viewpoints and ideas. This can lead to a deeper understanding of how much your own thinking is influenced by your past religious beliefs and what part is shaped by your personal reasoning. Learning to recognize and understanding the roots of your thoughts takes time and patience, and it's important to recognize and acknowledge these feelings when they come up. Understanding their roots in past religious teachings can help in gradually dismantling their power over our current life choices. It involves reevaluating and redefining our moral and ethical standards based on what you believe and understand, rather than on the doctrines we were taught through religion.
Religious dogma must be dropped.
So whether you're a believer, a non-believer, or just don't know yet, I would encourage you to explore and question what you do believe. And do it with an open mind. Know that questioning your beliefs isn't a sign of weakness, but a strength that leads to growth and learning. Let's continue this journey together of challenging what we know and what we don't as we discover new perspectives and deeper truths on Feeling Freaky.